This is information that is given to us. Everyone has access to astrology. They don't all understand the value. Some people just read their horoscope daily. You know, Elizabeth and I do our charts. We have Sandra do our solar returns. We have definitely taken it to another level, but it works for us. It's been incredible.
The thing is that timing is everything. And whether that resonates with your personal life or your business life, if you have timing on your side, good timing, and you've got the tools, then things start to fall into place.
Hey, it's Julie. I just wanted to chime in really quickly before this really, really beautiful interview. I'm so grateful that you're going to get to meet these two incredible powerhouse women who are entrepreneurs. And what you're going to notice is the deep connection they have to the spiritual world, to astrology, to using their intuition. And what I love so much, I decided, well, I got tapped on the shoulder. Really, it was sort of a divine kismet moment to get back into the world of acting and modeling for fun. I used to do that for a long time and really paused for a while with kids, running a business. And I realized it gives me so much joy. I grew up with, and I shared this later, my mom, former opera singer, music teacher. I always was singing or playing or on stage. And so when I went to audition to the artist agency, I was just blown away. I was blown away by both the energy and the light and the passion and the kindness from both Lynda and Elizabeth. And I don't want to give it all away, but their stories and celebrating 40 years of creating this beautiful, powerful business that is based on an artistry and creativity for anyone that wants to step into that. What I hope is you will take away, we talked about so much around the law of attraction, around following your intuition, around trusting the divine and how like attracts like. And I hope that you will take the gems, the many, many gems of wisdom that were shared in this conversation. That's my hope and my prayer. And I just want to say, I think of you as a soul friend, family. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Being your Youest, you couldn't be more important right now. And especially as the world shifts and there's lots going on, lots of changes, lots of challenges. The most important thing we can all do is to love and honor yourself, to follow your intuition, your heart, and your higher self. Right? Your higher self, your Youest you. So I hope this conversation helps you to become closer to your beautiful, truest Youest you. Well, hello, Youest you family, wherever you may be listening and tuning in. I am so excited. This conversation is going to inspire the pants off of you. Stay with us. Get your notepad, although we will have everything in the description and in the show notes. I'm so excited to introduce you today to my two amazing powerhouse women guests. We have Lynda Erkiletian and Elizabeth Centenary, who are they run and started the artist agency 40 years ago. I don't even think they look like they're old enough to have a business that's 40 years old, but that we'll get into it. And this agency is all about helping models and actors and actresses find incredible work throughout the Maryland, Virginia, DC area and throughout the world. And I'm going to let them talk to you and share with you because their story is pretty amazing. And I want to say two women, they've been doing this for 40 years. They are close, I believe, very close friends. And one of the things I love, they are so inspiring about what's possible when you follow your heart, you follow your dreams. And yes, we are going to bring in a little bit of our soulful astrology. So stay tuned. You're going to want to listen to this whole conversation. It is going to really give you inspiration and food for thought that anything is possible, my friend. Anything is possible when you are tuning into your Youest you. Anything is possible. So Lynda, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So I think it would be just neat to level set a little bit. I know it's 40 years. You're celebrating 40 years of having your business. Lynda, you originally started this yourself and brought Elizabeth a couple years in, correct, when you got started?
Well, the angels sent me Elizabeth, clearly, because yes, it was when I first began the agency, it was really to address a need in Washington that had not been addressed. So it actually started very organically with 5 stylists that did hair, makeup, and wardrobe. And we really hadn't thought at that point about models. It was really just trying to do something that hadn't been done in DC. So we opened in a little 300 square foot sublet office with that little Bell Atlantic, call waiting, etc. And we were fortunate that a year later, a very big agency that represented beauty and fashion models was going out of business. And we had worked with them jointly. And the owner came to me and said, I'm leaving and there's no place for our models to go. There's only casting agencies. And my response was, what are we going to do different than you? If you're on your way out of business, like what's going to change that for us? And she said, well, we watched the way you represented the stylist. You signed them all exclusively. You did the voucher system where you advanced money so they had stability. So basically what we agreed to do was have a model meeting and pick the top 15 models that wanted to be represented by us. And we needed to have her booker, her main booker, Jay Sumner, come over because she knew all the models and to give them that level of comfort. That's how the modeling side started, basically. And when Elizabeth came in, and she'll certainly talk about, her background, but the idea that she came in with years of experience since she was a child, it was really angels, like angel kisses for me, because it's so hard to find people that understand our industry, that have their heart in the right place, where they represent the talent and they provide a service to the client. So it was love at first sight when I met Elizabeth. And the worst part of that day was she said, I can't start for 5 months.
I love it. I love that you brought in the angels, like bringing her in. I mean, I think what's important for people who may not realize in this industry, one of the things, and as someone who, I was raised with a mom who was an opera singer and actress. I got to do a lot on stage, and it just was it was an outlet, a creative outlet. And I had this belief, like you have to look a certain way or be a certain size, and it kept me from doing this work for a long time. And one of the things I loved when I met with you both and what I've seen is the representation of just having all people of all different sizes and shapes and backgrounds, and love your support of women. And you can just see from the energy. I remember when I met both of you, I was like, okay, who are, like, I need to know these women. You are so inspiring. There's such a love and respect there, and love that just it you followed your heart here. And I love that the angels kissed you on, like gave you that little nudge to bring Elizabeth in. And it just, to be together and be in this for 40 years is really something. When you started, Lynda, what was the original vision for the artist agency? And then together, what are you most proud about at this point?
So the actual vision from the beginning was to be able to expand, which is why I didn't call us beauty bookings or, stylist fabuloso. It was like, what kind of name will be able to suit growth? And I grew up in the South, and when something was really special, they would say, oh, you have to try this. It's THE, or you've got to go here. It's like, it's the place to be. So I thought, stylist, hair, makeup, wardrobe, models, everybody is an artist. And I felt safe creating THE Artist Agency, but I always wanted the THE to be emphasized. So not just the artist agency. So that's how that came to be. So our vision from day one was, I didn't know if I could be a businesswoman. Honestly, I'm dyslexic. I love art. I love the creative world. And I really gave it to God, and I felt like it was necessary to implement the company because I had two small children, and it was like being a location stylist. Every day was different. So by deciding to be a businesswoman meant that I could share all the love of creativity that I had, but I had a more 9 to 6 sort of schedule, if if anybody could say that in our industry, but it was supposed to be stabilizing.
As she winks and smiles and laughs. I love that is so powerful for those listening who might have something they're dealing with, whether it's dyslexia, neurodivergency, something that you might say, I don't know if I could be a businesswoman. I heard you saying that. And that didn't stop you or get in the way. It's really, really inspiring, and love the focus on creativity and artistry. I actually believe we're all artists in different ways. And the focus on like that is such a cool story. For you, Elizabeth, you were in this industry before, correct? I'll let you share your story, but how the angel brought you to Lynda, because it sounds like it's a two-way street.
Yeah. So when I tell people about the agency, I literally say, I've been doing this my whole life. So my mom was a model. I kind of modeled as a kid just because I wanted to hang out with her. And so when I was, 3, 4, 5 years old, I would go on her shoots. She was a model in Kentucky. Actually, there was modeling in Kentucky, believe it or not. And she was the top model of Louisville. So she had a successful career in modeling. And after school, every day when I was in grade school, I came and worked at the agency. My mother had an agency in Louisville called Barbizon. And that's still around. But I would answer the phones after school when I was 11, 12, 13, and met all the photographers and saw the photo shoots. And after that, I interned at an agency during college. And all through college, I interned at an agency in Colorado. And then my mother and I, when I graduated, opened an agency in Denver called Looks. And so we did that. And then I met the love of my life, who said he was moving to Baltimore.
There you go.
So at the agency in Denver, which was called JF Images, and then my mother and I opened up Looks, I formed a relationship with Billy Ford, who ran the Ford agency in New York, and we became very close friends. So I said, I guess I'm moving to Baltimore soon. And my mother said, you got to go. I said, what are you going to do without me? She said, well, I'll probably have to shut it down, which eventually she did. But anyway, so Billy Ford gave me the name of THE. And literally, I made one phone call and I talked to Jay Sumner. This was in 1987. So Jay said, oh my gosh, well, I'm moving and you sound like a perfect match. And so I flew from Denver to DC. Lynda and I had lunch at a place called Paulo's, which is not here anymore, but famous Georgetown place.
Yeah, I know it.
And we had lunch, and about 2 hours later, we shook hands, and we've been partners ever since. And I mean, I believe in Kismet in every sense of the word. And literally our meeting and that one phone call and basically falling in love with each other over a 2-hour lunch, it was kismet. And so I moved to Baltimore with my husband, begrudgingly but lovingly, and did the horrible commute from Baltimore to Georgetown for 6 years with pregnancies and babies. And then we moved to Georgetown because I said to my husband, I'm not doing this 6 more days. I love you, but I'm moving to Georgetown. So that's how we met. And that was 28 years ago. Or no, I'm sorry, 38 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a minute. Yeah.
38 years ago.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was meant to be. It's in, I think it's in, I know it's in my blood. I know it's in Lynda's blood. It's a crazy industry that we just can't get enough of.
I love it. You know, when you said you found the love of your life, I thought you meant Lynda.
Well, she's the other one. She's the other one.
She's the other one. That's right. I was like, she kind of is in a different way.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a best friend, business partner way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you said. Well, it's so cool about growing up in this industry. Love what you said about it being kismet. And I think that might be really interesting to talk about just now. I mean, 38, 40 years. This is, you know, for many of us who, you know, being at a place for 10 years, for 20 years is something. I mean, 40 years, 4 decades, there's actually a lot spiritually about the number 40. You know, there's a lot to do. I think it was 40 nights in the desert, 40 years. I don't know all the references, but it's a very spiritual, powerful number. And it also says something that you're still in love with the industry after 40 years. That you're in the right space. We talk a lot about, you know, following your soul and your soul's calling and your purpose. And this is clearly both of yours. In terms of kismet, synchronicities, intuition, I think it's so important for anyone listening, because you didn't know, Elizabeth, this was going to happen. You just followed. Sometimes I've heard for God, people say good orderly direction, right? Like following that inkling, and you followed that. And, you know, when you follow that inner voice, this is what I believe can happen, right? You're doing what you love. You wearing it. You have such incredible light and vitality. So it's clear. How has intuition or synchronicities or kismet, how has that played a role in maybe any of the jobs you've booked or this business? And it could be any story. And I know I'm just asking you off the cuff, but I'm curious, maybe it was a voice that said, hire that person or don't, or just curious, because we talk a lot about intuition here. How has that played a part? It could be in the business or in your life, in any way that you want to share.
Well, I feel like since I was a child, I've always had a conversation with God. I always feel guided. Whenever I'm in doubt, I really look for signs. I ask my angels, I ask the universe, because you'll always get the right answer. And you don't always listen to the right answer. And that's how you find out when you need to listen to your intuition. But I feel that so many times in the work that we do, there can be darkness. And one of the things that Elizabeth and I continue to do over and over is to give out information about beware and be aware of things that are happening in the industry, especially every no letter that someone receives from the agency if they're not, you know, experienced enough, or it's just, we don't want them wandering around looking online and that sort of thing. So our intuition has always been to protect and really guide people to the right place, or, you know, and be very honest. But I will say, when you talk about a particular job, Elizabeth and I have this thing called the aspects that we look at that our astrologer does for us. And they're literally like a day by day for everyone. I mean, I happen to have it here. I can show you. So it's like right now we're on today. But so what happens is when clients call to ask for meetings or to do events or that kind of thing, I always will go and look to see, oh, what are they vibrating to? Is this going to be a success, or are we one step forward, two steps back? So it just so happened we used to do a big fashion show for Men Against Breast Cancer. And the founder, Mark Hyacin, came to us and he was like, okay, I'm scheduling our event. It's going to be at Bloomingdale's. We're going to have it at this time. I need this many models, etc. So I looked at the timing and it wasn't just discourse. It was like giant bees just flashing on that day and on that evening. So I called him up and I'm like, Mark, I don't know if you're going to understand what I'm trying to share with you, but I have kind of an inside scoop. And the inside scoop is the day you want to have your event, there are tons of bees. So my suggestion would be for us to pick another day. And he poo-pooed it immediately. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't, no, the event goes on. Here's where it's going to be, let's do it. So of course, I'm thinking of all the antidotes I can come up with, what colors, what stones, anything that I can throw in there that'll bring peace to this day. And so, Elizabeth and I, our models, we get to the event. There's smoke and there's the smell of electricity, burning. And long story short, they ended up, they had to evacuate everyone because a fire was starting due to all the equipment for the runway show. So Mark Hyacin grabbed me and he was like, don't you ever let me plan another event without asking you first. He goes, you have to tell me what's a good day. So that's a definite, there you have it. Why struggle if you don't have to?
Wow. For those who don't know, when you said bees, you don't mean buzzing bees. You mean
I mean, like in the aspects, our astrologer went through and she puts G's, she puts, if there's nothing, they're just neutrals, nothing, but there's the timing of each day. And so if there's a big bee, beware. If it's a little bee, you can, use an antidote if it's a must do sort of project or appointment. But you really want to do it around G's. Like right now we're in a giant G, which is so amazing. So yes, it's G's are good, B's are bad, D's are discourse.
Mm. And if I can share, that story is so powerful. So we were originally going to be speaking, just for everyone listening, this is kind of cool. This is where I was like, oh my God, I love these ladies. We are talking about this. Because we were going to speak a couple days ago, and I didn't realize I'm in tune with astrology at a high level, not like this. And and something came up, Lynda, I think you might have said, when we're meant to talk, I'm a little concerned because there are the big bees, and I'm like, I don't think she means buzzing bees. And then I realized what you meant. And I'm like, oh, let's not do that. Let's, if we don't have to. So we actually, I'm just letting you know for your listeners, we changed our time. You said right now at this time was a big G. And I said, okay, then that's when we're doing this. So I just thought that is so cool to really be in tune. And you have it for every day, these aspects every day, which is so fascinating, making decisions. And we talk so much about this here, using energy and information from astrology or human design, or, taking those aspects like you do. And I think you had a phrase, Lynda, it was something like why even play with that timing if you don't have to? Like,
Why struggle if you don't have to?
yeah, that's
That's
even
what
better.
that's what Sandra, our astrologer, always says. Like,
Yeah.
this is information that is given to us.
Yeah.
Everyone has access to astrology. They don't all understand the value. Some people just read their horoscope daily. Elizabeth and I do our charts. We have Sandra do our solar returns. We have definitely taken it to another level, but it works for us. It's been incredible.
So
The
cool.
thing is that, timing is everything. And whether that resonates with your personal life or your business life, if you have timing on your side, good timing, and you've got the tools, then things start to fall into place. If there's discord, like Lynda said, there's a fuse that's broken, or if you have discord at a doctor's appointment, the machine breaks down. Just little things that you become aware of to make things in your life run more smoothly. And I think in this business, it's crazy, right? It's 7 days a week, 24/7. So timing and organization and lots of prayers and lots of positive thinking. And, our theme song is "We Will Survive" by Donna Lewis or whoever sings it. But that's been our theme song for as long as we've been together. And we actually have survived, which we can attest to. But, being in the business in many ways is very inspirational, especially when you take a young talent and watch them grow. And the biggest joy is telling someone that's worked their tail off to get everything that they need in order to succeed is to call them and give them their first job. So making their dreams a reality is inspirational in and of itself. And that's what I think keeps us going, is that, we're not rocket scientists. We're not saving lives, but we are in a way. We're watching people grow and blossom. Some of our talent have put themselves through medical school. Some have put themselves through dental school, having a side gig to have their main dream. But watching dreams come true is incredibly inspirational.
Hey, beautiful soul. I'm Julie. I'm so grateful that you're here. And I just want to say, if you've been feeling that nudge, like something deep inside of you is whispering, it is time. And yes, this is your sign. I created Intuition School just for you. It is a self-paced, transformative course and deeply spiritual journey designed to help you trust your inner wisdom, connect with your higher self, and unlock the magic that is already and always within you. Imagine no longer second guessing yourself. Imagine following your soul's purpose and having total clarity. Imagine attracting what your heart really, truly desires and effortlessly. I know firsthand that when you trust your intuition, everything changes. That's why I'm inviting you to join me inside this powerful mystery school for the soul. You'll learn the intuition framework, tools, practices, meditations, and healing offerings to help you access your higher guidance. And because I'm so excited for you to begin this journey, I've got a very special gift for you. Just use the code podcast97 to get $97 off of your enrollment. If this is feeling like a soul yes, let's do this together. Step into your divine intuitive power now. You can enroll today at juliereisler.com/intuition school. Use the code podcast97 for $97 off. I will make sure that the links are below. And let me remind you, what you're seeking is always seeking you. Your higher self is waiting. So much love. So cool. You're really in the dream business, in the making dreams come true. And I love the focus on artistry and creativity.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, we
you know,
have the best hair and makeup artists, to me, in the entire country. And we've had several of them as long as we've been in business. So
wow.
forming those relationships, I mean, they're all family.
Yeah.
You know, they're so much a part of our lives and have been this long and seen us grow, and we've seen them the same way.
What do you think are some of the ingredients? And I'm thinking about this for those that are either thinking of starting a business or a side gig or just wanting to kind of have the courage to follow, their calling, whatever it might be different. I'm curious, what do you think are some of the ingredients that have really led to your success, however you define that, and to such longevity of relationships and amazing people that work with you and for you still, for that long a time? What are some of those ingredients, would you say?
Well, I think they all work with us because we all work together as one. And I think if you follow your intuition and you have a passion and you see that there's actually something missing in your market, being an entrepreneur is not easy. I mean, so many businesses that are small businesses that start up really don't make it the first 5 years. So, my suggestion is really do your homework first. Know if there's a need. And if there's a need, can you fill that void with quality people or quality products or whatever you're interested in? And then just put your all into it. And if you have to go in a dark room and scream when you're feeling like, you're going to lose it, and then come back and smile, whatever it takes to get through the crazy times. There's always ups and downs. I mean, always, to any business. And it's learning how to shift and just really adjust direction and not giving up. There's nothing wrong with shutting down a business if you don't feel it's going anywhere. I definitely support that, but I don't give up easily. Elizabeth and I, when COVID hit, we would get together almost every day and just go through, file cabinets. Like, okay, how are we going to bring this back? What's this going to look like? Well, we're just shredding paper and talking about the future. And because we knew we had a future, we knew that COVID wasn't going to be forever. So I just feel that you have to, when that big wave comes after your ship, just let it flow, let it eat, just guide it practically over the wave, as opposed to, some people say go through the wave, which I think we've done both.
I
But
think
it's, yeah.
the words I'm going to use are courageous, risk-taking, sacrificing, acceptance, love, passion, endurance. We've been through, obviously, in 40 years, we've seen a lot of changes. And, I'll use Lynda, like rolling with the tide. But we're a business that's always looking into the future. So, for instance, in the early 90s, we had a horrible recession, right? So a lot of the photo studios, Garfinkel's, Woody's, the Heck Company, all their in-house studios were gone. So what are we going to do? We started a runway division. And then we ruled the runway market for X amount of years. And then when runway started to kind of just become kind of basic and normal, then we started another division. And during COVID, we got very creative and we started a family division because, first of all, as a model, you can't model in a mask. So families where you're comfortable standing next to the person you have to kiss at the end of the shoot or hold hands with, what better than to have your real family? So that really worked during a time when photography for models and stylists started during COVID. It was very difficult. So we're always, I think, creatively looking into how can we be ahead of the game and how can we be a step ahead with what Lynda's better at that than me because I'm just in the trenches trying to drum up work. But, we were the first agency to develop a book. We were, one of the first agencies to create a website, YouTube channel, all of those things. So it's about looking into the future and understanding technology, which I suck at, by the way. I hate technology. And back in the day, all the bookings were on sheets of paper, right? All of our numbers were on Rolodex cards. So we're learning. I'm learning. I have daughters that help me learn computer things, but adjusting to the changes in the future something else that's kept us going for this long is our customer service, because our clients know they can call us at midnight and say, my model for tomorrow is sick. I know you guys. Find me somebody in an hour. No problem. We always answer our phones. So, when you perform like that and you accommodate like that, whether it's Easter Sunday or, date night, then you got to do what you got to do. But that's why we've had the clients that we've had we have some of the same clients for 40 years. So, and we still have them. We've got some great clients.
We have great clients because we also have great talent.
Yes.
It's like we listen to what they want. Things shift and change, through all these decades. We've gone through many different types of requests. Today it's ambiguous. We want to use it all over the world because now there's more of a global reach. Everything we do today is practically global. So they want their audience in their countries to relate to whoever is representing their product. So oftentimes when we're doing a job, they'll do as many as 6 models for the campaign so that they can address diversity, which is extremely important.
We also, this past year, added a non-binary division. We do a lot of same-sex couples, wedding wire, and all kinds of things like that. So we have that new category, which I think is fantastic with how the world works.
Yes.
It's just addressing really what your clients are asking for. And if you can find the right people that invest in being professional at what they do, we're very particular. We like to say we represent the top 1% of the talent. And I think that speaks volumes because, as Elizabeth mentioned, we've had some of our clients for 40 years, and to continue to develop new clients and adjust to the new digital market and what does that mean, and how we basically learn like everyone else. It presents itself, we dive in, what does that mean to our talent? How do we protect them? It's like the whole AI thing that has recently come up. Watching after SAG continue to strike because the AI portion of the contract was not being addressed, because most people didn't even understand what the repercussions of that would be if there wasn't something signed. So good for Fran Drescher, and she got that done. And now we all know a description of what that means.
Right. Right.
I so appreciate, one of the things when you have 40 years and so many shifting times, you talked about the 90s, you had a pivot. And then again, with the runways kind of coming into more normalcy, and then COVID. And, I think this is timeless wisdom that you're sharing. What I'm distilling is following your intuition, really showing up from your heart to be, of service and to put your 100+ in. You talked about being able to be resilient and courageous and pivot and really to be a stand. It's kind of what I'm hearing too, a stand for those that you're bringing in to really have the best experience, have their dreams come true, and to be able to flow with what's happening. And I think for many of us, when as the world is shifting a lot, it's very inspiring to see how you've been. I just get this image of like navigating down a river, almost like a whitewater rafting. Maybe it feels that way sometimes, like, woo, there's a rapid. Okay,
Yeah.
going over it. And to be really in a space, I mean, I hope people watch this, they can see the energy and the vitality on both of your faces and around you, and I mean, you're both glowing. And it says something, that following, I just keep coming back to a greater calling, a greater purpose. And these ingredients, they're timeless. They're timeless. And I know anyone listening, whatever it is that, if you're listening and you want to start a coaching business, or you want to go back to school, or maybe you want to get into acting and modeling, and whatever it is, whatever you want to do, I think these ingredients are tried and true. And it's so helpful to hear your experiences, and that you didn't have the roadmap always out for you. You've created it. I mean, the word that comes to mind for both of you are really visionary. I really see visionary and kind of that light bearer. You're holding the candle and you're saying, okay, it's dark, but we're gonna go this way. And then you're created, it's really beautiful. You have you said the non-binary, or the that whole wing in addition. And actually, I remember when I filled out the application, I was like, oh, cool. I don't identify that way, but I could play that. Like, I was like, oh, that's awesome that there's a lot on here. It was very cool. That was really cool. In terms of vision, speaking of visionary and vision, there are so many shifts now. We're in the DC area. Interesting place to be sometimes. What are some of your visions? What when you think of what you envision for the next 10 years, the legacy you want to continue to create, what are you leaning into now? What are you noticing is really calling your heart forward?
Wow. So 10 years, I've done 5-year plans.
We could do five. We could do
I've
five.
never done a 10-year
I'm
plan.
like, we'll talk at 50, but let's talk
Okay.
45. Yeah, 5 is
So
fine.
I usually do a 1-year and a 5-year. Like, my 1 year is realistic. My 5 years attach my dreams come true. So I would love to see the agency continue to thrive. I would love to see our communities continue to thrive because we're a part of it. I mean, we're very much involved in our communities. So I feel that being able to give people confidence that we're going to tell them the truth. Is this a good thing for you to invest in? Or is this something maybe you should, think about being a buyer if you're interested in fashion instead of being a fashion stylist, or, so I've got basically what I'm trying to say is that we're very honest, And through that honesty, that's how we attract the true professionals. So I visualize amazing new people. I mean, Taylor Swift came into our office when she was 13.
I
And
didn't know that. That's
boy,
so
that was a heavy duty miss. But she was 13 and she loved music, and she brought a
cool.
little piece of her, a little sample of her music, and we didn't even listen to it that day. We were in open call, and her mother drove her 3 hours from Pennsylvania. And it was like, Taylor, is your mom really going to drive you back and forth to do a, brass plum prom show for Nordstrom's? I mean, 6 hours, $125, that was, think how long ago that was. She was 13. So it was like, Taylor, invest your energy in your true passion, which is your music.
Mm.
And look at her go.
Wow.
Not that I've ever heard her say thank you, THE.
Right?
Because all we were was like a 30-minute interview of who are you? How far would you have? How much would you have to invest? What would you actually get in return? And it just made sense if her true passion was music. So we hope to, as you mentioned, just continue to inspire people to be their best, follow their dreams. And if we think they're off course, address that as well. There's a lot of addressing in our industry when people go haywire. But I just think it would be great to still be THE, best in the city, attracting all the greatest clients, all the greatest talent, being healthy, being happy, being madly in love with what is surrounding us. I can't think of anything greater.
I would say that, well, first and foremost, I'm going to say we're really lucky. We're really lucky that every day we can get up and do what we love. And then I would say, we acquired Central Casting several years ago. So my vision in the next 5 years is to watch Central Casting grow bigger and better. And we're getting there, and we will get there, and we'll be on top there too. So that might take more than 5 years, but we're willing to watch it happen. And I'd like to see everybody get along. I think in the world, in our community, in our personal lives, that we've got the best lives. And one part of that is all the love and the warmth and the camaraderie that we feel with those that actually we attract. And the law of attraction is also timing. And that is, when Lynda and I met, it was timing. When I met my husband, it was timing. And those two most important things in my life, other than having my children, they should be at the top if they're going to listen to this,
yes.
is being open in order to attract something that your mind and your heart and your soul won't give up on. And if you can attract that energy, then you're going to attract, the famous expression, like attracts like. So if you have that energy, it will come to you if you believe in it, which is also kismet.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, so what you don't know is, as I was listening, I was taking notes, and I wrote down law of attraction, like attracts like, and manifestation. I'm thinking, this is manifest. We talk about this a lot here, and you just said it. I'm like, okay, we are all on the same vibe
We're very
here.
in sync.
We are in sync, and I love it's so poignant because you're living it. And it's not, it's not pie in the sky. This is for all humans, for all of us. We all have access to synchronicity, to God, to the divine, to like attracts like. It's really the question is like attracts like. What like are you being? How are you being? What are you attracting? And both of you have used the words attract a few times. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad you're both saying that, because it's proving the point we talk all the time, that your energy is everything. Your energy is everything. And as you're speaking about what your vision is, it's just, to me, the momentum of what you've already created and the energy and who you're being, how can it not happen? And maybe sometimes I'll add, and maybe that or better, like, or even thriving, and who knows? I mean, I could see all of that and then some. And so back to the ingredients we talked about, you can hear that attraction. It's so true, because, that Rumi quote, what you're seeking is seeking you. It's the same thing. You're both living that, which is, it's beautiful. It really is. It's inspiring, because I think it can get easy to get stuck in stories and beliefs, and when things get challenging and the world shifts, and love that you are committed to following Kismet, to following your heart, your intuition, the aspects as well. Okay, I want to ask about the aspects again, if that's okay, because inquiring minds want to know, how else do you use astrology and the aspects besides, and it could be with business and booking, but I'm curious. I think, Lynda, you had talked about, even, I don't know if I got this right. Did you say planning the birth of one of your children? Or, okay, you got to share, because I don't want to make this up, but I thought that was so cool.
Well, if the child is due at a certain time, you can literally, I knew I was having C-sections. I have 4 children, and my first took many years to come, and he was an emergency delivery. So there was no timing on that. It was just a beautiful miracle that came my way. And my daughter came soon after that. That was like a surprise, but again, extremely, it was another miracle, because our little Jessica, she's getting ready to have her son soon. But anyway, so when it came to my 3rd child, Sandra had said to me, you should really let me do the timing. I didn't know anything about this, but it was like, we can create harmony for the brother and the sister. Like, sometimes it could be the difference in a day or a couple hours, but let's bring their astrological signs into harmony. So she did it for my 3rd son, and the doctor was like, what? And I'm like, yes, he needs to be born between 8 and 10:30 in the morning on this date. And literally the first doctor said no. And so I found another doctor, and he said yes. And then that doctor delivered my 4th child, and it was so beautiful, because Sandra, the astrologer, literally did the timing so beautifully. They are absolutely best friends. They talk every day. It's amazing to watch how, different, let's say the first 2 that, of course, it's always God's timing. That's when they chose to come in. Their soul said, this is it. But when I had the opportunity to actually look at the timing and what would happen, because for people who don't understand the whole astrology world, everyone has 12 houses. And there are planets when you're born. It's called your birth chart. And then, as like today, when we do our charts, we do our progress charts, so we can see how far we've come and what our challenges look like that year. So it's interesting that some of what Sandra also saw in my son Sam's chart was the dates that they had picked she felt were not good dates for him, and it had to do with respiratory. Now, how she knew this on his chart, it's such a gift. These wonderful angels on earth that come and learn and channel energy and bring these gifts to us. So we actually, waited a little while longer, did the harmony. Sam was born, and he actually did have some respiratory issues, which would have been much worse had he have come any earlier. So, there's just a lot of value to knowing when you should follow those tools that were given to us by the universe. Everyone has access.
Sandra tells us, here's the information, you got to do the work. So we all have the information. Both of my children, I did timing for the conception of my second daughter, and my first daughter, timing of her birth as well. And then the timing on my second daughter was timing so they would be compatible. So they're best friends. My two daughters are best friends, and they couldn't be more different, but their souls are the same. So, and I also use timing for every doctor's appointment, every event, everything. So, again, though, you have the information, you got to do the work. Just like the agency, we have the information, now we got to do the work.
Absolutely. I kind of think of it as we have free will.
Yeah.
Right? The
Always.
divine. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to
Sure.
say, Lynda, I cut you off.
Well, that was something my grandmother used to say to me. She used to say, you have the devil on one side, the angels on the other. They're both talking to you. You need to just tune into your heart and do what's right. So I feel that, yes, you can have all this information. There are times I don't look at the aspects. It's not like I wake up and, I just look at them for things that, like, if I'm going to schedule an open call, I want it to be a harmonious day so that people find parking and it's, whatever. But it's just one of those things that when you have an astrologer like we have been gifted to have, even though she's retired now, so we can't, really share her information, but she, has just been such a gift, and she continues to help us and be there for us. And I would say if people are interested in learning more, there's so much access, online. I follow so many people on YouTube, and some are 10 minutes, some are an hour and a half. It's just whatever you have time for.
Absolutely. And we've interviewed here Deborah Silverman, who's a fantastic astrologer, the Astro Twins, Virginia Rosenberg. And there are others I don't know. It's such a gift that this field has been exploding and growing, because what you're both saying, why struggle if you don't have to?
Mhm.
And you said this, Elizabeth, too, both of you, we can have the information. It's up to each of us to do the work. I believe in that wholeheartedly, whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm curious. Now I'm just actually curious. Sun signs, rising, moon. Can you share? This is just really off the cuff, but now I'm like, okay, Lynda and Elizabeth, what are your signs? We all got to know, and we'll encourage everyone to make sure you find yours as well. But yes, so what are your signs? And do you identify with them? Do you resonate with them?
Well, I'm a Virgo, and I have Cancer moon. And my mother gave me the wrong time of birth when I first met Sandra and did my chart. And Sandra would say to me, I don't think your mother has the right time. And it was based on events that happen in your life that they can pretty much nail down within a few hours. So I found my baby book, and I said to my mom, don't wonder I had Scorpio rising. Like, I'm not a Scorpio rising. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I love Scorpios. That's my daughter. But, it's one of those things where now it's either, I don't even know, Sagittarius, Capricorn. I'm so confused because I just found out a few years ago. So that was interesting, but I am definitely a Virgo. I I feel like when you look at what a sign represents, being born in September, the fall, harvesting the wheat, I feel like I love being in the service industry. I love being of service. It makes me so happy. And can see anything wrong in the room in 5 minutes. So I'm great to work with models and artists because I can say, why don't we cut your hair short? I mean, I think you have a perfect face for it, and they kind of listen, and so I love it from the creative perspective. But yes, definitely a Virgo.
So today is the full moon in Virgo, by the way.
Yes. Can you believe it?
Of course, there's more kismet. I'm like, wait a minute. I just had to say that.
know.
Yeah,
So
this
crazy.
so much. All right, and Elizabeth, how about you?
I am Leo the lion.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm a feisty redhead that, as my children say, Mama's got claws. But I'm Sagittarius rising, and something really interesting is my mom was a Sag, my stepmom's a Sag, my grandmother was a Sag, all my boyfriends were Sag, and I married a Sag. So clearly I love Sagittarians. And I'm moon dominant. So even though I want to be the center of attention, don't hurt my feelings.
Oh, I love that. Does moon dominant mean you're Leo too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have
Oh,
Leo
wow.
everywhere. Yeah, I have Leo everywhere.
You are all fire.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, because Lynda, you've got the earth, you've got the water, and probably the fire if you're Sag rising. Oh, so you're both Sag rising.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Sagittarius, so I'm like,
Of
okay.
course you are.
Oh, how amazing.
That's why
Oh
I
my
love
gosh,
you
that's
so much.
I'm like, I love me my Sages. No, I mean, I love all humans. However, Sages, sister brothers. Yep. Little
Yeah.
shout out to you. Something special that sign.
You really are, for sure.
I always just see the arrow, like pointing the arrow and just not stopping until you have fun and you get to the arrow to where it's supposed to go.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I love it. I want to thank you both so much. So much. Before we close, so I ask a question. It's to really give you the mic, the floor. We call them heart flares. That was like the term that came through me. I don't know. I like the idea of like passing the mic to your heart, to whatever's, maybe there was something I didn't ask you or something coming through you or a message or just something you'd like to share. And I always end with these heart flares so that you have a chance to share anything that's still there in your heart about this or anything that we've talked about or anything at all. But we honor your intuitive message and whatever it is you'd like to share. So I'll give both of you the chance. Any heart flares?
What comes to my heart immediately is how grateful I feel that you came into our office. We were talking about the industry, and you were like, I do a podcast. You ladies should do my podcast. And we were like, our 40th anniversary is April Fool's Day. You were like, because back then it was, are they really going to get this to work? And it was like, well, April Fools. But when you said that we could actually do the podcast with you in celebration of our 40th anniversary and have it air on April 1st, that was the most incredible gift. It was so incredible. I went home and cried. I was like, wow, it was such a beautiful prayer. that I had been asking for something terrific. You know, everybody wants us to do a party, and we want to do a party, but we're so busy, and parties are for spring and summer and fall. But it was like, wow, that was exactly what I was waiting for. Somebody who recognized Elizabeth and I for our passion, for our dedication, and wanting to make us part of your family. And having watched so many of your podcasts now, you really are an angel on earth. You are a messenger. You bring the light, you bring the love, and there's no better way to celebrate the 40 years of blood, sweat, and tears than to be with you and to be with Elizabeth. And it's just the most beautiful gift. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, I've got like tears. Elizabeth, thank you so much, Lynda. I mean, I'm just going to say thank you to the divine, to God, because that was I just, when I met you both, you know, it had been a while since I've been doing acting, modeling, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm the right fit, but you got to be on my show, because what you got here, I was so moved and touched by your energy, your heart, your passion. It was like palpable. It was palpable. And I trust that today. I'm like, they're coming on. And it's amazing, because the 1st of April, as this airs, is the day we release the podcast. So I was like, yep, we're moving everything around. This is happening. It's a gift. So thank you. Yes.
I'm going to say gratitude. That's my word of 2025 is gratitude. And always being thankful for what we have, what we know, what we need to learn, because we're always learning every day, but also to trust in the universe and trust in God and be grateful for our health, our family, our THE family, our real families, our friends, our mentors, our health. You know, we've got so much to be grateful for, and there's a lot of people in the world that are suffering and struggling. And I think I know Lynda mentioned earlier, a big part of both of us, and I think our team, is giving back. And giving back doesn't necessarily mean money. It's time, it's passion, it's a genuine care and concern for where the world is going, and to try not only to make the world more beautiful, because that's what our stylists do, but to make the world a better place by giving back. And I want to tell you that you are like a burst of sunshine. And when you came in here, just your smile and your eyes and your spirit, who could not love you? Who could not be attracted to you? Because you are just pure amazingness.
Woo, it's a lot. Thank you so much. I'm like choked up. I'm verklempt, whatever the word is.
You are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to take that in and take it in after. I've got tears. I've got like smiles. My cheeks hurt from smiling. I just, thank you both for having the courage to follow your inner guidance, the divine plan for your soul, and what you said of being of service. And I just kept thinking of the spiritual laws, the laws of circulation. What you give, you receive. What you receive, you give. But especially when we give, and give from a place, which I know you do, of heart, of care, connection, compassion, you see that back. It comes back, and often tenfold. And that is the kind of divine signature that is all over what you've created. You can see it, you can feel it. And I'm so grateful to share both of you. I think as women entrepreneurs, as creatives, as artists, as soulful spirited, beautiful people, you know, inside and out. This is very inspirational, and I'm grateful for both of you. And I'm going to say to all of our beautiful listeners, near, far, wherever you are in the world, the prayer when we started this whole conversation was that this conversation bless you and that you really see something for yourself in this conversation that inspires you, that touches and moves you to know that anything is possible. And hopefully you've really heard yourself from these stories that the ingredients to really success, like doing what you love, as Lynda and Elizabeth, you've been doing for 40 years, that it's within each of us. We have to do the work. It's within each of us, and we attract what we put out there. So I am just summarizing the gems that you both have shared and so much more. And I want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart. It's an
Thank
honor to
you.
celebrate.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay. I always do my little hearts.
Oh, the little love thing.
The little love. Yes. If we were on Zoom, I'd have hearts come out. Yes.
So cute.
I
Thank
love
you
it. And
so
I'm
much.
going to say thank you to our community, our soul family. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for being part of this family of all of us. We're all here to tap into our higher selves, your Youest you. That's who your Youest you is. It's already there. And I know by really taking in from Lynda and from Elizabeth that there's so many gems here, and may you find this conversation to bless you in your life. And as always, sending love to you both, and just honor you for being the light that you are. Namaste.
Namaste.